us and the collaboration that we're going to have going forward.
No better way to communicate to your audience.
How do we grow strategically now that we've gotten the right path forward? Hey guys, hope you're doing awesome today. I'm here with my guy Chris Kelley here as our guest on our show on Agents Who Win. Happy Friday, everybody. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. We're like, 9 days away? So I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We've got one more episode for the end of the year. But we're coming here today as Agents Who Win to help agents decide, what kind of marketing to get, what kind of coaching to get, really ways to help you build your business and take your business to the next level. A lot of agents coming into the market right now are wondering about teams. What's the big deal with teams? Why teams? And so I'm interviewing agents right now about teams and why they chose teams. And Chris is on my personal team. So Chris, this is, like I said before, this is not an interview. This is just, about you, about your business and why you chose a team and things you were looking for in a team when you came to us. So want to first ask you, why real estate? Because that was my first interview question 20 years ago from a broker was why real estate? So I want to kind of hear that from everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for having me on, and looking forward to kind of discussing my goals and what got me into real estate. Definitely.
Yeah.
Basically, I would say it started as a kid. I grew up over in New Smyrna Beach, and I remember going into Publix and always seeing the magazines with all the houses, the cool houses on the beach and things like that. And every time I went to Publix, I had to get those magazines. And I guess that's how people looked at properties before the internet. And so that kind of
very true
interest back then. Yeah.
It's funny because now a lot of people, the typical answer I'm getting is why real estate? Well, I love watching HGTV. You're the first person to say, and you're not even in the demographic age of, the magazine era. You're in the demographic age of HGTV. Everyone's always like, I love watching the HGTV and think it looks fun, so I want to try it. You're the opposite of the magazines. I would always grab those as well when I'm walking in and out of the stores. So, and you're coming out of the multi-million-dollar beach property, so that's even more excited than the stuff we've got here in the Orlando market.
Yeah,
Those show a lifestyle in those magazines. Here, we're just showing the front of a house because there's really nothing else exciting about it.
Yeah,
unless you're on a lake or something. So, what made you go to get your license? How long have you had your license?
It's been 2017 is when I initially kind of started the process for it. I saw a Groupon for as $100 real estate store class where you could basically, I guess it was a 63-hour thing, and went through the process. It was fairly quick. I did it within 2 months and then became licensed. And yeah, it started in Timeshare, and that was interesting to say the least. But then I eventually moved into EXP, did that for a little bit, broke my ankle, and then kind of decided this last few months to join you. So join your team.
So let's go back to, you got your license and you went into Timeshare. Why Timeshare?
Yeah, good question. I saw that it was an easy way to kind of get started. It's established system. They have everything kind of set for you already. You call people, they have their properties, things like that. And I was like, okay, seems like a pretty good gig, and they have great sales training. That's kind of where I was at. I saw that residential was a little bit harder to kind of jump into. So
what kind of skills do you think you gained out of starting in the timeshare market?
Probably a good understanding of the sales process. I know it's a little bit different on that end because you're really trying to push, a vacation and things like that, as opposed to someone's, investment in a house. So I really learned a lot of great sales skills from it. And I would also probably say the understanding of contracts and the legalities of, real estate and things like that. Kind of what I learned in the beginning.
So it's funny because timeshare is a little bit different, than obviously a lot different animal than real estate, but sales is sales. So if you can learn the skills, and whether you're learning car sales or, timeshare sales or just selling furniture, whatever, it's, sales is sales, appliances, etc. It's creating the idea of what that product is going to do for the person. And so, you're selling timeshares, which is selling a lifestyle, a vacation for a life for everybody. The true timeshare people are the ones who go to the same week over and over and over again at the same location. So you're selling that, hey, couldn't you imagine coming here with your kids for the next 30 years and then your grandkids and stuff? That's what you're selling in timeshare.
Yeah.
In real estate, I see it as, and maybe take a spin on this into your sales process, but you're still selling the lifestyle. Could you see you're raising your kids here? Could you see you're doing this stuff here? And I think that's like something you can almost pull out of the timeshare side. Real estate or timeshare contracts, you have a 10-day, maybe a 10 or 3 or 10-day window. You can get out of the contract, and it's kind of like real estate contracts. You have your inspection period, depending on the contract you're using. You have that 7 to 10-day window with the inspections. It's like, hey, whether the wind blows the wrong way, and don't quote legalities on this. This is just, an example. Whoever's listening to the show. But like the wind could blow the wrong way and I don't want to buy the house now. You get your money back, you move on. But I think it's great. Now, did you work on the line or work in the phone room?
The phone room.
Okay.
So reaching out to existing owners and basically trying to get them into some more weeks with their vacations. And it's a process because you're having to kind of dig and try to find time that they can use every year in addition to what they already have. So it was pretty challenging, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of really see people's motivations for the most part.
Yeah. Oh, that's an ideal right there, because if you're gonna, when you're prospecting, being on the phone and trying to learn the motivation behind the motivation behind the phone from other people is a lot better to skill to learn than face to face, because a lot of this is phone work, and as you're getting calls, hey, I want to see the house 1 Elm Street. Through your conversations you've learned to have, you can learn the motivation there, which I think is a great, so you've got some good training there. And people who get into real estate, I mean, go try timeshare for 4 months, go give it a shot, see what happens, and then learn some skills. And then, obviously dive into the career path you want to go, whether it's residential or maybe you succeed in timeshare. But it is a totally different animal, getting up at 5 a.m., working that line. That's truly for me. So I never could do it. But so, you broke your ankle, which unfortunately sucks. You had to step out because this is it's an on your feet business, running around business and keeping going. What made you, I guess first, what was when you got into the licensing in the beginning, what was when you chose EXP, why did you chose EXP Realty, versus other brokerages that are out there? And this is not an EXP pitch. It's just more of like why you chose this company versus that company.
Yeah, great question. And when I initially passed the state exam, I was getting so much in the mail. I got stuff from Keller Williams and Coldwell Banker were the big two and they even reached out and called several times. I saw a Facebook friend, because I was in the restaurant industry for years, and a former server who had joined EXP. She was posting all about the revenue share, and not so much like a pyramid scheme, but that if you are successful and you bring on agents, you can also profit from that. And I saw that as a really interesting concept with EXP. And I also liked the idea at the time, and it's kind of revolutionary, if everything was on the cloud. They had the EXP world, especially for the solo agents, where they had everything kind of there to kind of set up your business through the cloud at the time, EXP world.
Right.
So that was a really interesting concept. And, I was like, all right, I think I can do it. And the fees were pretty low compared to other brokerages. And I was just like, all right, let's do it. And I think it was a great decision because EXP is awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And we love the partnership there as well. So, when you're diving into, when you came back in, I guess what kind of business were you trying to do then? And then what made you go towards the team model?
Yeah. So back then I was on my own. I had a couple people in my sphere, that I knew that were kind of looking for real estate at the time. And I didn't have a whole lot of action with that. It was primarily Op City.
Okay.
And that was kind of tricky because you had to, you didn't know if they were pre-qualified, what their motivations were. So it was kind of like having to develop that. And I didn't really set up the whole thing of actually going on showings. It was all through the phone. So I never actually physically met someone. I really only had like 4 months that I was kind of doing it part-time.
Gotcha.
So, and I had a mentor at the time, but it wasn't really proactive. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just, after I broke my ankle, I was just like, let's kind of pause this for a little bit. Things happened in my life, had a kid and kind of settled down a little bit. And then this past few months, I was like, you know what? Let me try this again. And I heard a Tom Ferry podcast about how teams are the future. So I was like, let me see about this teams concept. And I looked in Orlando, and there's a few EXP teams, and then was going out for a run one day. I saw your sign. I was like, you know what, let's check it out. I saw that you had a team in Altamont where I live. So I was like, let's do it. Let's try this team thing out.
So the best form of team marketing is put signs in the yards and attract agents to the
Yeah,
team.
it worked for me.
It
Definitely.
seemed to work. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, we love, your energy in the team and everything you've got going on. You're really you're starting off as a rock star. You've got a couple deals under contract. You had some cancellations. You're working through those.
Yeah.
But the idea is to keep those clients engaged. So, when you were thinking about joining the teams, what is it you were looking for, or what should agents look for when joining a team itself?
Yeah, great question. I think that for me, it has to be, it has to make sense that because I still have my night job, and I like the concept when I interviewed with you of the support. You have you have the support, you have the team members that are there, you have so many different avenues to get solid leads, whether it's through, Ylopo, the website, through Google, Zillow. There's so many different aspects that I'm just starting to scratch the surface, the past 2 months that I've been really kind of going head in on it. And, as the more and more as I see that the team offers, I see, wow, this is a great opportunity. Like it's insane that, in the course of the day, I'll have, easily 5 to 7, potential leads that are just incoming. And
Right.
as a solo agent, you'd have to pay for that on your own.
Yeah.
So it's great. That in and of itself is awesome.
So what, and I appreciate that, because we've got, if you run the systems right and you can handle the influx of the business, you can be very successful. And it is hard to ramp up as a new agent, getting that kind of lead flow going, because it's a lot of investment in the beginning, and stuff slowly pays off. It's 10 to 12 months sometimes before you see a lead source start working, because we've got some, we've been on Google for a year, for example, with this one source, and we're just getting our first deal under contract with it, because it's a lot of follow-up. Some of these internet buyers are coming out of California, New York, and other places, and it's just a matter of the nurture game. So it is, and there's a lot of follow-up behind too. So it's really, planning your day ahead. Interesting you say about the night job. So how do you, work in the two positions? How are you managing your day? Like, what does your day look like? So you can be successful and not be burnt out when you're, waitering at, or your server position at Disney in the evenings, to being an agent during the day. How do you manage your day so you're not getting burnt out?
Yeah, it's go from 7 in the morning when, I'm up with my youngest till, when I come home at midnight. And kind of a great idea of my day is, I'll get him ready, take him to school at 8. I'll come home, I'll go through Follow-Up Boss. I'll have my, phone on for Zillow. So Zillow calls all the time, constantly. And so I'm kind of juggling all that up until noon. Trying to find, I'm also doing like research and looking in the MLS. I'm looking at properties. I'm learning. So it's kind of going back and forth between actively pursuing leads and learning at this point. And then around noon, I'll have lunch. I'll get back between, I'd say, about 1 to 2. And then 2:30, I'm getting ready to go to work. And then showings typically happen anywhere from 8 a.m. till 2 o'clock, depending on when I can schedule them in. And
Gotcha.
then Saturdays, Sundays are the busiest for showings.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you're busy on both. Sorry, one thing's popped on my screen. So you're busy on both ends of the spectrum. It's like weekends off. This is not even in the serving and real estate, there's no weekends off. There's no normal hours or anything.
yeah.
It keeps you going. So, agents that are walking in, if they were to look at teams, what are some of the top things that people should be looking for when interviewing with teams? Are you looking for like a culture team, a leads team, someone to help develop your sphere? What are questions they should ask?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much everything that I've seen with our team. It's, having the culture, having the potential to have a solid stream of leads coming in. It's the learning opportunities, what I've learned from, the contract class and things with Follow Up Boss, which is just an awesome, CRM where I'm really just scratching the surface of it. I'm really trying to get in and see, Rachel on our team, really provided a lot of ideas on the action plans and how to really follow up. So I think you have to have a team that has a solid CRM, so you can manage those leads. And the support staff, it's been awesome. Katie's been great with my 2 deals that I've had. I've really just kind of, stepped back, and I've been able to pursue the leads that I'm working right now. So it's awesome, to see that. So I would say anyone that's coming in, just make sure you have, a team that provides what works for you. I think is ultimately the goal.
No, that's a good answer there. And like having the transaction coordinator on a team, I think is valuable because it allows you to. All I need to do is get the contract written, go out and hand it to the support team, and keep going out and selling. And that's for me when I started. I hired my first assistant 10 years ago. About 10 or 11 years ago. It was hard to give away. Hard to, okay, here's the file, I'm out. Normally because we're doing it all ourselves. And it's learning where my time is more valuable is out on the streets and running clients around and following up and doing that stuff, not the hourly work of transactions. And let someone who can handle that full time do that stuff. And Rachel and I have been working together for just about 10 years, and she's my third assistant, but she was the one that was the third in the first year and has lasted. Luckily, got someone who could handle my lack of delegation and started taking more away from me, which allowed me to grow and sell more real estate. So, and that's the beauty of a team as well. If you have, people that are looking at teams, make sure they have a good transaction coordinator on the team and someone who can handle the volume that's going to be coming in, because a good team transaction coordinator should be able to handle 100+ deals a year. And if they need the assistance, there's someone there to back them up as well. Because if the transaction coordinator leaves or goes on vacation, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, who's handling stuff and keeping people in the loop?
Yeah, definitely. And it's awesome that we have that. And, it's good because it shows that, everyone on the team has that resource there, and, just stepping back and, continuing, and you can take more of an active role, in your deals, but it's great that we have a great transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The more you step in, it's like, you want to make sure if you're stepping in at the right times. We've got it set up to where, okay, now it's time for the inspection, go to that. Now it's the appraisal. It's there. Call your clients with the wins. Let the support team handle the balance.
Yeah. Definitely.
So here's a trick question. What are some things you would love to see from a team?
Love to see from a team. I guess just perfecting and continuing to grow the existing systems that are in place, I would say, and learning how to use those systems to the best of your ability. And I find that's going to be my biggest challenge for the next year, is to really try to grow on what's already there.
Yeah.
I would say it's important.
There's so much money sitting in your database right now inside of Follow Up Boss, and it's learning how to monitor like the open rates or the home bot opens or whatever it is, to see what's there. Because if you can master that, if you can master your database and keep your database up, you're going to be successful as an agent. Because there's gold in there, and it's like, if I looked at our database and see the people who have bought that we didn't follow up with because we didn't follow the right action plans or whatever, there's $1 million that we've lost.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about that, but it's the nurture, the Follow Up Boss, or the follow up. Why they call it Follow Up Boss? That you need to be doing and living in the database, dialing through the database. If you have a team that doesn't have a good database set up, that's going to be the challenge for you to be successful as a team member as well. We've had Follow Up Boss for 8 years. And, when I was at their party in Vegas, I was like one of the only people in the room who'd been with them more than 3 years. Wow. And we know the owner, we know all the staff and all that stuff. And so it's, if we have a problem, we can go right to the top. And they know us personally, so which is good because we've stuck with one system for so long. I see people who try different databases every year because there's, it's the shiny, what do they call it? The shiny object syndrome. There's all these promises made by these new companies, and we're like, I don't want to change what's working. And then what does Follow Up Boss do? They make so many more improvements. You're like, why would I leave? Because there's so much cool stuff that's going on in the background. And obviously, the more you spend with them, the higher level of the database you have. So there's more tools that you get to unlock as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And
to
I'm
look
starting to
there.
see that definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about goals for 2022 as we wrap up. What's your goal for 2022?
Yeah, I'm keeping it very modest. I don't have that whole Grant Cardone 10x, which I hope, in the next 3 to 4 years to get to that level. I want to do this right, and I want to definitely just do a very great job with the clients that I can get on board. So I have a very modest goal of 2 homes a month. If I can, do more than that, that would be awesome. But for 2022, 2 homes a month is where I'm at. And if I can achieve that, I know that in December, this time next year, I'll be very happy.
Cool. So what does that look like for you personally? Would you still be working your second position, or would you be then jumping right into full-time agent?
Yeah, I still have this idea that hopefully by June I can jump into it full time. I have this idea, and especially in the database and looking at where things are at, and where Follow Up Boss is awesome. The A where the hot, and then B kind of cold, and then C kind of nurture. I'm really seeing a lot of A's in there that could potentially bring in a lot. And if I can really grow that, stay top of mind with those A's and the B's, not so much the C's, but definitely those two. I feel that hopefully by June I could possibly jump into this full time.
So one of the things you had mentioned to me is you wanted to dive into some video,
Yeah,
hitting like community markets and stuff.
definitely.
What does that look like for you next year? How do you want to focus on that, and when do you want to get started on that? I'm putting you on the spot on the
Yeah,
video
yeah.
to this date, whatever month we're going to get started on this.
Yeah, I would say probably the second week of January, just kind of wrap
Okay.
up a few things, just kind of get going. But I think I could definitely start doing that. Getting
All right.
out there.
So
Yeah.
January 15th, we're going to start doing some recordings. I will be holding the
Yeah.
camera while you're recording.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Let's do it. January 15th. I just wrote it down.
Perfect. So what are you doing right now to push yourself to success for next year? Because this is the time you've got to be busy to really kick your first quarter into gear.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm starting to see, the one that I have right now, it's the first week of January. It's getting everyone, just seeing where everyone is at, especially the leads that I'm kind of working. If there's a couple that, are kind of immediate, want to buy within the next month. So I'm really trying to push those and try to see where they're at. And I'm contacting those 2 to 3 times a week, sending properties, and it's continuing to really push that. And then just try to grow what I also have, maybe the ones that are more February, March as well. So
Stay on top of those people, because I see a lot of people get quiet during the holiday, and all of a sudden they realize that buyer bought something with somebody else.
yeah,
So
don't want that
it's
to happen.
it's staying in front of the people as much as possible. And hey, I understand you're not a buyer today, but guess what? If you bought today, you wouldn't close today. If you bought today, you'd be closing in 45 days, which is February. So or end of January, whatever date this is. So it's like, stay on top of your people right now. What suggestions can you give the new agents out there to like a couple questions to ask and or suggestions for pushing themselves into 2022?
It's finding your why. I've found that in the last few years, that's the most important thing. Your why is so important, to provide for your family, your prosperity, and then always go back to that when you're working your leads, when you're trying to grow your business, is to get back to that. Because if you're not succeeding and you're not being able to go on those vacations, or even, at the very minimum, paying your bills and putting food on the table, you have to figure out exactly what your why is and work it to the best of your ability. And that's what I try to wake up every day and tell myself.
No, it's smart. Know your why, because that's gonna be know your destination. I like that.
Yeah.
So cool, guys. If you guys are looking to buy something in the Orlando market, or not buy because we're a bunch of agents, but if you're looking at buying a second home here, vacation down here, if you've got Orlando referrals, we're handling Orange, Seminole, Orlando, Daytona, out to Disney properties, vacations. Give Chris a call. He'd be a great referral source for you. He's got a lot of stuff in the works. He's already crushing it within 2 months of the team. Got a couple deals rolling, and got a lot of people ready to pounce on the purchases. So, Chris, I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you being on the team, and I look forward to growing with you in 2022. And I look forward to January 15th, when we're going to start recording some videos together.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Y'all have a great holiday season. Chris, again, thanks for being here, and we will see you Tuesday at our potluck, or actually at our River Cruise dinner on Saturday.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys, have a good one.